Welcome back, and thank you for remaining with us. And I hope you're following the conversation we are having on Twitter as well as on our YouTube. You can catch us there as well. You can also look into our channel at GoTV Decoders at 394, and you can give us feedback on what you may not have understood, or something, a question or a suggestion or a comment, and we can be able to follow up through that. We have been looking at these gainers here, the top gainers who came out on top of the markets on Friday. Remember, the stock market, kindly, just a simple kind reminder, is a very turbulent and volatile market that varies definitely each and every single day, and we see this happening almost on a daily. Every time the market opens and people trade, we see price movements, and as an investor you must be informed on the price movement. You must know exactly which counters are doing what based on the year to date, based on the monthly performance, based on the 3 months performance, based on which stocks trade most, because you want a stock that is liquid, something you can easily sell in case you would want to sell, or something that people are willing to buy and work with. And definitely that is the information we gather for you right here on the show. And of course, you can do this with your stockbroker. You don't have to make exact decisions on your own. You can go through your stockbroker who can advise you further, but at least the basic information here given to you will give you highlights of which companies are doing well, which companies are not doing so well on the market, so you go with an idea or a picture of what you would want to get from the stock market. Now, the other gainer here we see is East African breweries, as you can see on the screen behind me here, coming in, of course, in one of the gainers at 53.92 Ugandan shillings gain on a daily, that is on Friday, and that was a 1.21% growth in the value of their. Now, as regards the company, we see that the stock pricings actually went down from 6,000. If you can see here, we had prices as high as 6,000 just over last year, around the month of September, before the month of September, and we can see that there was a slight decline in pricings there, as you can see, down to prices as low as 5k, and these 5 mark came in around December 2021. But then the prices were steady after some time, and in January we see, coming into the new year, they were still steady at 5,000 all through the month of January. But as you can see, when we move towards March, the prices started moving down from 5k to prices between 4,000 and 5,000. And then we see in the month of June, the prices crossed the 4,000 mark, down to below that 4,000 mark to over 3,500. And at that point, we see, beginning in the month of June, we started picking up to the 4,000 mark and leveling off at right now where we are at 4,500. But you can see, determining maybe based on the year to date, we are seeing a 5,000, from 5,000 shillings to over 4,500. That's a drop of about 400 shillings in value overall for this particular stock of East African Breweries Limited. Now, East African Breweries Limited, interestingly, is a very old company, and this year they are celebrating 100 years of existence, as they began in 1922. It's a company that was, of course, confounded in Kenya, but has several shares in these breweries we know of in Uganda, in Tanzania, and so on. And in Uganda, particularly, we're seeing that it has over 93% stake in Uganda breweries, and in Tanzania we are seeing about 86% of Kibo breweries in Tanzania. And it has a total turnover, annual turnover of over 325 million US dollars. It trades under the ticker symbol East African Breweries, actually EABL, that is the ticker symbol under which it trades, and has been listed on the USE, the Uganda Securities Exchange, since March 27th, 2001, meaning for over the last 20 years. This company has been listed on the exchange. Currently, it is the fourth most valuable stock, coming behind, as you can see, Equity Bank, coming behind MTN Uganda, coming behind KCB. So at the top four, it comes on the fourth position at a market capitalization of currently 3.58 trillion Ugandan shillings, representing about 16.7% of the total market capitalization on the entire Uganda Securities Exchange. And as we can see, this is the performance based on the pricings since last year in around September, and we can say the company averagely has been able to sustain its performance, though we don't see much activity. The total shares outstanding for Equity Bank East African Breweries Limited are a total of over 791 million shares, with a market capitalization of 3.58 trillion out of these. It operates a consumer services sector, consumer goods sector, and specifically the beverages industry. And the company is led by Mr. Andrew David Cowan, who is a 56-year-old managing director and CEO, who has been the CEO since the year 2016. The company's board of directors is chaired by Mr. Charles Kahara Muchene, who is a 65-year-old as well, and the board is composed of about 11 board members. Now, all these are important factors, as a fact that if you hear a name and it sounds a bell, it rings bells in your ears. It means you maybe know this person as an ardent CEO, someone who has been able to perform well in several sectors, and maybe is now the CEO. It definitely is a performance indicator that the better the governance of the institution, the better the running of the day-to-day activities, and probably the more investable this particular stock might be. So always look out also for the people that are heading some of these organizations. Now, based on the sector in which this particular industry, the industry in which this particular company is dealing in, we see that it has only one competitor on the market, that is British American Tobacco Uganda, who is dealing also in the consumer goods sector. And we can say that compared to British American Tobacco, we see that the capitalization is quite higher, because capitalization for the British American Tobacco is about 736 billion compared to over the 3 trillion Ugandan shillings. And in terms of year-to-date performance, British American Tobacco lost about 50% of its pricing, and the pricing of British American Tobacco stock is still stuck at 15,000 Ugandan shillings. That is East African Breweries Limited for you, who came out also as part of the gainers. But another gainer, still talking about gainers, is KCB Group, who came in at a 4.77 Ugandan shillings gain at 0.38% gain. And he ended the day with a trading of 1,252 Ugandan shillings, 0.91. And we can see that KCB is a subsidiary bank of KCB Group, which is a commercial bank in Kenya. And the bank opened for business in November 2007 at Commercial Plaza in Kampala Road. And we can say that KCB offers fully fledged universal shares on the market, universal banking products that are tailored for the Ugandan market here, and of course taking advantage of integration in the region, and definitely having investment opportunities across the region with subsidiaries in Uganda, in Tanzania, we're also seeing in Uganda, here in Kenya, where the bank was born. And we see that this particular bank has had presence in all the East African regions, and we can say it is one of the biggest banks here when we're talking about the banking sector. It was listed, however, most importantly on the 19th of October in the year 2010, and we can say that KCB traded on the Uganda Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol KCB. And in terms of market capitalization, it is the fourth. The fourth in terms of the third most valuable stock. And currently has a total of 3.74 trillion Ugandan shillings worth of stock that is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And in terms of these percentages of the total capitalization on the Uganda Securities Exchange, it currently holds about 17.5% of the total market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, looking into the stock performances here on the graph, you can see that this particular stock here has not had much movement, but we can see at least 10 months ago, we see that the company was trading at 1,600 per share, but that came down quickly in November 2021 at 1,400 shillings. And then later we see a little bit of fluctuations, but along this line of 1,400 as an average price, ushering into the year 2022. And we can see that prices moved down to 1,200 in the month of May, and we can see prices also still moving down further during the month of May. But later the company picked up and came back up to 1,200 and crossed the line and back down, and then right now we are seeing averages of 1,252 Ugandan shillings. In terms of trading, still not the most active stock, but very investable, very stable in terms of pricings, and we can see based on this performance that it is a stock you can bank on if you are looking at trading on the stock market, especially for the long-term gain in terms of gaining value for your particular stock. And that is definitely KCB. Since they deal in the financial services sector, we see that they have several competitors, but based on the competitors like Stanbic Bank Uganda, which has more trades, more turnovers, and also we're seeing more activity there. We also have Equity Bank, higher capitalization, but not as much activity compared to KCB as well. But we can say it is an investable stock, and if you're looking to invest in the financial services sector, definitely KCB is one of the options you should look out for. KCB closed its last trading day on 22nd of July on Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. with a price of 1,500, and we can see it here on the board on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And KCB began the year, however, with the price of 4,014.32. But since it has shed off over 11.4% of its total price valuation, and we can say that it's ranked now 10th based on the year-to-date performance. However, shareholders' fears may be allayed by the 6% increase in the Kenya Commercial Bank share pricings since 24th of June in the year 2022. And this is a monthly, they have a monthly increase of 6% in value. And we are seeing that comparing the dates 24th of June and 22nd of July, which is now based on the 1 month performance in the position of the fifth position, the fifth best on the Uganda Securities Exchange. We can see that on a weekly performance, we see about 2.181% decline, but on a four weeks performance, that's a 1 month performance, we're seeing an increase of 6.26%, while on a 3 months basis, we are seeing a 3.97% decline, and a 6 month decline as well of 12.7%, while in terms of year-to-date performance, we're seeing that the company has shed off over 11.4% in terms of their year-to-date. The company recently changed administration from the CEO, Mr. Joshua Oigara, who has, of course, had several milestones with KCB, and now they have moved to Paul Russo, who is the current Chief Executive Officer for the company and Managing Director. And after, of course, we expect several performance shifts in terms of going into the positives, and we hope to see that on the KCB counter as well here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And that is, of course, the KCB bank performance. But then now moving on to our last and final gainer, Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways stock, of course, as you can see, is not that turbulent as well. As you can see, since last year, we see pricings of over 120 shillings that have been surpassed very few times since the year 2021. And then we see a sharp increase here during the month of February. But then we are back to the average of 120, then a sharp decline here during the month of June, and then back to the 120 Ugandan shillings pricings. Now, this particular stock has also seen several challenges because, as Kenya Airways, of course, during the pandemic, the company made a couple of losses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. People were not flying. You know, there was a lot of misery in the airlines industry, but the company is coming back strong based on their financial results of the year 2021. Of course, they're still in debt, and we shall be seeing a story there later on the program on how the company is planning to actually be able to avert the debt into which it has, of course, been wallowing for the past couple of years. And we're seeing the Kenyan government there that is coming in to give a hand to Kenya Airways to see that they can come out of debt. They have been having challenges not paying employees, not paying service providers in a bid to kind of cut expenditure. And definitely this has impacted greatly on the performance also of this particular stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, but also the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Now, a little bit of history about this company. The company was first incorporated in 1977 as a wholly owned entity by the government of Kenya following the collapse of the East African Airways. The company was privatized in 1995 when 26% of the shares of the company were sold to KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines. And then in 1996, involving an initial public offering of the company's shares, of the biggest share offering in Kenya's history, which was oversubscribed by over 82%. The Kenyan Airways company shares have attained the blue chip status on the Nairobi Stock Exchange owing to, among other factors, a high level of corporate disclosure, earnings growth, and the shares relatively high liquidity. The decision to cross-list the airline's shares on the Uganda Securities Exchange was made as part of the company's strategy to be a major player in Africa. Now it trades under the ticker symbol KA, simply KA, on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and has been trading since 2002 or 28th of March. And Kenya Airways are traded as on the ticker symbol KA since 2002, meaning for the past 20 or so years, we're seeing this counter trade on the market. And Kenya Airways currently is the 7th most valuable stock by market capitalization and has a market capitalization of 702 billion. And this is 3.28% of the total market capitalization on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, just yesterday, we see the company gained by 0.13% by about 0.16 Ugandan shillings. And that brought the pricing to 123.52 Ugandan shillings. And if you would want to buy some of this stock, still the market is open for you right now. Is it an investable company? Yes, well, yes and no, but definitely on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, it's a very, very attractive stock market that you can actually be able to trade on. Now, when we look at the competitors, in terms of what they deal in, they have only one market competitor who also deals in the industrial sector, and we are looking at Uganda Clays Limited here coming into the docket of Kenya Airways. And Uganda Clays year-to-date performance stands at 46.2%, while the market capitalization is standing at 17.1 billion Ugandan shillings. That, of course, brings us to the end of the Kenya Airways stock market, and looking at now the losing side. Remember, we had some losers on the market here, and of course we had Stanbic Bank, who came in at a 0.79% loss, and Centum, who came in at a 0.07% loss there. Now, looking into the stock of Stanbic Bank Uganda, you can see that Stanbic Bank Uganda actually came in as a loser yesterday, but you can monitor the performance of this particular stock and see it is a quite volatile stock, as you can see, but still within limits. It doesn't vary a lot. Looking at, for example, September 2021, prices were between 25 and 27.5 Ugandan shillings, and we can see that they have been maintained within that window until around May, when the stock prices started going down to as low as 22.5 and then down to over 20.04 yesterday. Now, looking into Stanbic Bank's stock market, in particular, we see that Stanbic Holdings, Uganda Holdings, which is listed, because we don't talk about Stanbic Bank when we talk about the listing. We're talking about Stanbic Holdings Uganda Limited as part of Africa's leading financial service group called Standard Bank, that is, of course, the largest financial institution that is based in South Africa. Now, Stanbic also Uganda Holdings is the largest financial institution here in Uganda, licensed under the Financial Institutions Act of 2004. The bank was founded in Uganda as the National Bank of India in 1906, and after several name changes, it became Grindlays Bank. When the Standard Bank Group bought the Grindlays network in Africa, it also in October 1993 re-established a presence in Uganda as Stanbic Bank. Stanbic Bank operates over 71 points of representation and a growing network of automated teller machines, currently numbering to 111 around the country. The bank is located all over Uganda, and with Stanbic Bank's head office in Kampala, from where its businesses and support functions operate. Stanbic Bank has been listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange since the 25th of January 2007, and it trades under the ticker symbol SBU. That is the symbol under which this particular stock trades. And Stanbic Bank currently is the 5th most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with a market capitalization of 1.03 trillion Ugandan shillings, which is about 4.8% of the Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. Yesterday, they traded a total volume of over 684,300 shares that are valued at 13.7 million worth of transactions that happened on Friday, not yesterday. And the shares outstanding are over 51.2 billion shares, bringing the market capitalization to 1.03 trillion. And remember how we get this market capitalization: multiply the current share price of 20.04 times the shares outstanding of 51.2 billion shares. Now, based on last trading day, that is Friday, the company shed off over 0.8% of its pricing, and it recorded a closing price of 20.2 Ugandan shillings. Stanbic began the year, however, with a price of 26 Ugandan shillings and has since lost 22.9% of its price valuation, ranking it the 13th in terms of year-to-date performance. Shareholders' worries are compounded by the fact that Stanbic Bank Uganda has lost 9% of the stock value from 24th of June to date. So Stanbic Bank, literally, we have seen a very significant amount of loss in value, even based on the 1 month, based on the 3 months, based on the year-to-date performance. We are still seeing it coming in the negatives. But let's look at also the tradings. How much has it been trading? But we're going to do that immediately after a break. We're going to take a quick breather. When we return, we wind up, of course, with Stanbic Bank, looking at how much have they been trading, where do they stand? Do we still have hope investing in Stanbic Bank? Stay with us. We return shortly.